We are beginning lesson 3. We're going to listen to Anthony Peratt, who discusses the plasma universe, and he has some interesting information.
This is somewhat different. It was very refreshing to listen to Wall's talk on the electric universe, and I guess I played a role, somewhat of a role in establishing what is called the plasma universe, which is about the same thing. Very refreshing to see that. It's a field that I worked in for, gosh, 2.5 decades or so, and right now I'm working in something very closely related, but it's different. It's petroglyphs. Okay, it's not galaxies, rotation magnetic fields in galaxies, which we produced, which is on our websites or in any number of publications. But it's carvings on rock by man in prehistory. Now, why are these important? Let me start out by talking about the Earth's aurora, which is caused by Birkeland currents. Here's a view of the aurora borealis, the northern aurora. There's a southern aurora australis that don't occur at the same time. And this is seen in ultraviolet light by the Viking satellite. And here's an artist's depiction. I got this from John Hopkins Applied Research Laboratory, which sends rockets up to photograph this. And it shows the incoming and outgoing Birkeland currents that originate with any kind of plasma that happens to enter the solar system or with an intense solar burst. You've got this plasma interacting with the Earth's dipole magnetic field, and at the north magnetic pole and south magnetic pole, those are called horns, and there's holes. The magnetic field comes in, and the plasma, the charged particles, the electrons and ions, are able to pour in, and they follow this cone shape and to produce the aurora that we see. The first thing I have to do is to teach you plasma physics. Whenever one has a column of plasma, a straight column of plasma, it tends to pinch itself, and it is. See, on our side of the Atlantic, it's called a Z pinch. Here, it's called a Z pinch, and it's one of the most common occurrences in space plasma. In that you've got a current flowing in a direction, and a current flowing in a direction tends to produce its own self-magnetic field, which tends to periodically pinch in on the plasma. And this is the basic concept for many fusion concepts. Experimentalists will say, and I've taken pictures of these myself, between 8 and 10, it's usually 9. 9 is the number of these bulges, which we call plasmoids. And they will contain their own circling current inside, which again produces a dipole field. Okay, so that's almost all you need to know about plasma physics. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the so-called eye or owl morphology in that Z pinch. It looks something like this when you false color it and fill it in, and then compare it to what we call eye mask petroglyphs around the world. This is Easter Island, New Grange. Where else? This is in California. This is actually a pictograph of the Chumash Indians. This is on the Columbia River Basin, which is very rich in eye mask, as is British Columbia. It's Romania, Europe. Everywhere you find this classification of petroglyph. Okay, so that's one classification of petroglyph on that rock that had everything. What they're seeing really is electrons in the presence of a magnetic field. Electrons in the presence of a magnetic field. If the electrons are relativistic, produce synchrotron light, and what they were seeing was synchrotron light. And of course, man has been seeing synchrotron light from Crab Nebula and so on for as long as man has been on Earth. So it's always been there. And I'll show you a very bright synchrotron light. Kokopelli is a very popular folk figure in places like New Mexico, Arizona, the southwestern United States. Also in places places like Afghanistan and other places around the world. He's generally considered a mischievous, Africa, a mischievous sort of figure playing a flute. And it may be a flute, it may be something else. It depends on how the encultured interpreted what they saw in the synchrotron light in the very bright aurora coming into the sky. Here's the plasma images of the flute playing figure, and this is from the American Southwest here, many different styles. Again, playing the flute, Southwest. This is Africa playing the flute. Colombia, well, that might be a flute, I don't know. This again, this is from the Southwest because there's a duck head which often appears. This is in Russia. Siberia is very rich in petroglyphs, and Sri Lanka, something similar interpreted by their culture. The ladder and scorpion petroglyphs, again, they're all over. Ireland has got a lot. Every place has got a lot of these so-called ladder petroglyphs, and also the so-called scorpion petroglyphs are found all over. And what happens is that these donuts, as the current increases, the donuts, the toroids in the column tend to flatten out, and then they start to warp as the current increases. So these original donuts now have flattened out. This one has remained the same, so it still has these eye-like features that one sees here in the petroglyph. This is from Kayenta on the Navajo Reservation in Arizona. Some start to warp. In fact, they're all going to start to warp at some point as the current increases.
Lightning generates very high temperatures and pressures as it passes through the atmosphere. This converts gases temporarily into plasma, sending an expansive shockwave through the air, which we experience as thunder. Tall towers can be built with lightning rods to avoid energy absorption by the external atmosphere. With the aid of laser triggering, strikes can be guided into a chamber with no desired thermodynamic properties. As the lightning passes through the chamber, the gas suddenly expands and passes into channels surrounding the chamber, dispersing the extremely high pressure into lower pressures that can be handled by a variety of energy storage means. Once lightning is guided into a chamber that can contain appropriate temperatures and pressures, the gas buffer storage can be used at leisure. Here we have the electromagnetic field creating a dome. This electricity is free to use, but these elite people make us pay for it. Plasma is the fourth state of matter. Lightning is an example from nature. Every movie poster and TV program about witches, they have lightning, as if this is where their power originates. They are harnessing lightning, they're storing lightning. The Highlander film is about an immortal man. He uses his katana to kill other immortals. Every time he cuts their head off, lightning is suddenly attracted to him. It comes to him in a burst, and this is how he lives forever. So in a way, he's a vampire. You can see lightning emitting from the plasma ball. The hilt of his sword is basically a lightning rod or plasma rod, which is used to direct energy. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry is a fictional British boarding school of magic for students aged 11 to 18. Why 11 to 18? If you put a line through it and turn it, to me it looks like this plasma column. This isn't a satanic cross. This is a satanic cross. It's also the alchemical symbol for sulfur. A symbol for the alchemical element sulfur, which is spiritually analogous to the human soul. The symbol of sulfur is often used as an identifying symbol by Satanists. St. Peter's cross is the cross in which St. Peter was crucified as he didn't feel worthy to die like Jesus. as shown in the Satanic Bible written by Anton Zander LaVey in 1969. Because of that, it has become the Satanic Cross. We flip it on the side. It looks like 118 with a line going through it. People in the UK are probably aware of this 118 loan company. And we do have plasma in our blood. Plasma is the liquid portion of the blood. Components include plasma proteins, dissolved gases, wastes, electrolytes, nutrients, and hormones. I saw this film Practical Magic. The sisters wake up to the aunts making midnight margaritas. She poured something in it and called it Barbados lime. Is lime juice such a dark yellow? No, it's similar in color to plasma. So maybe that's what they're drinking, because they often show witches and wizards with plasma. The Anunnaki were practitioners in hormonal therapy, and during battle the soldiers would drink the blood of their fallen comrades, which provided them with a much needed energy boost and rehydration. Ordinarily, the Anunnaki imbibed the priestess's menstrual blood, which they believed was full of nutrients and contained an essence that not only lengthened their lives, but also brought them to a higher state of consciousness. During the temple ceremonies, the priestesses would also bring themselves to arousal, causing the release of fluid emitted from the Skene's gland. This fluid is filtered blood plasma and so is a rich source of hormones. The Anunnaki were skilled scientists, and so during these rituals they may not have drunk the substances fresh, but distilled them. The oft-used quote about turning base metals into gold may have derived from the distillation of iron-rich blood into a yellow-gold liquid, such as plasma, as Europeans in the last millennium discovered when they attempted to distill men's souls. They have said that young blood reverses aging, and it was controversial as they had been asking children to donate their plasma. This might be why witches and wizards have a staff. It's electrical plasma they have harnessed and stored to use it later. So I think what they're calling witchcraft is actually electricity. They harness electricity and use it for evil, and then they tell us that we can't use it because it's satanic. But really, if we did know about it, then we would also have this power, and I think the people high up don't want that.